Welcome back to Let's Play Catechumen. I'm D-Stex. This is level 2, and we're about to kick open a metal grate.
Well done. You are worthy to continue. Your eyes and ears shall be open to the Spirit, and I shall grant you my sword. Keep its charge up, and seek strength in the Word. Take courage, Catechumen.
Now we're about to get the game's second weapon. They call it the Gold Sword, but that's not a very indicative name of its features. And I'm going to let that be a surprise. Anyway, this is the second level, the Bathhouses, and the first few times I tried to play through Catechumen, I could not get through this level. Not because it's hard, but because I ran into two game-breaking glitches. The first one was that I couldn't pick up the sword. I jumped through it, I went back and came back to get it, and no matter what I did, I just couldn't pick up the damn sword. And I honestly have no clue why it worked in this playthrough. And now we're gonna get a nice little game over, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to rewatch the Little Angel cinematic. I apologize. Kick open the grate, and that's not physics or anything. It's just hard animated.
Well done.
And really loud too.
You are worthy to continue.
So yeah.
Your eyes and ears shall be open to
Give me
the
the fucking
Spirit,
sword.
and I shall grant you my sword. Keep its charge up.
But yeah, I couldn't pick up the sword. It would just hover there, and I couldn't pick it up. And I think it's actually a bigger mystery as to why it started working. I mean, I can understand if I can't pick it up because the game is glitched because it's a shitty game. But I didn't change anything. What's actually interesting is that I did reinstall this game, but then I tried to play after reinstalling, and I ran into the exact same glitch. Anyway, this is the first non-human enemy of the game, and you can now see that this is a fully automatic sword. Yeah, they really just wanted to make a first-person shooter, and they decided that ancient Rome was the best possible setting, and I sort of touched on this in the last episode, but just really superficially, that really the time of the ancient Roman persecution is probably the best possible setting for a Christian video game like this, but that's not saying much. I mean, it's the best possible setting, but that doesn't mean that it's a good one. Like, you really just shouldn't be making a Christian first-person shooter, ultimately. That's kind of what it boils down to. Unless you just go for a completely supernatural setting. But I guess they wanted to go for a historical one. So we're waiting for the sound effects to finish. And it's just really incredibly confused because there's no melee attacks at all. Like, you can't swing your sword, you just shoot with it. They really were just wanting to make a first-person shooter. Anyway, that's the door we need to get through. This game is really, really fond of putting the end of the level door right near the start. So basically it means that the levels are ridiculously padded out with backtracking. And the door won't budge. The first time I played through, I thought that was just supposed to be an indication that that door, you couldn't ever go through it. But no, if you can't ever go through the doors, you don't get any kind of notification. Anyway, here we got a little firefight. Gonna switch over to the full auto sword. And you can see that the imps don't leave any kind of corpse at all. They just sublime. I'm gonna pick up some more ammo, and I can hear a guard coming. Oh yeah, eat fully automatic salvation, bitch. I'm gonna pick up a scripture verse, get some more ammo for our sword. And we're gonna find that this is, in fact, a dead end. There is nothing to do here. And unfortunately, I didn't immediately realize that when recording this. You remember what I said about the level design being really labyrinthine? Well, here you go. They just got a random dark splotch there. The lighting engine in this game is just bizarre. Like, it's really... I don't want to call it chiaroscuro-esque, because that would be dignifying it too much. Like, I don't think they were trying to emulate the Dutch masters. I think they just didn't know how to code a fucking lighting engine. So yeah, you get those huge splotches of pure darkness. But thankfully, the level designers weren't completely sadistic, and so there's never anything important in the darkness. And I check, and you'll be seeing that through this playthrough. Now we're going... Oh, here's the action theme for Catechumen. Yeah, this game really wanted to be Doom. The only difference is that Doom didn't have you wandering around trying to figure out what to do and not seeing any enemies most of the time. And the music hasn't stopped. Oh, there it stopped. No kind of transition, just stop the track. Who needs a fade out? We don't have money for fade outs. Yeah, now I can sprint, and yeah, the sprint in this game is ridiculous. You just go like fucking Sonic the Hedgehog. So now the problem is remembering which of these doors I've been through, because you saw there's a floating thing up there, and that's an armor pickup, but I can't get there from that room. The way up to that balcony is not here. So that's the thing is, these levels, they're not long. Like, I think there's only been... at this recording, I have gotten up to level 15 recorded, and only one of the videos is over 20 minutes long. So, the levels are just... they're small, but they're padded out by being confusing. And there's no map. Like, I mean, that's sort of a pet peeve of mine when first-person shooters don't have a map. But I mean, sometimes it's justifiable, and sometimes it's just like, come on, like Doom had a map. That was basically the first shooter that anybody cared about, and it had a map. There's no excuse to not have a map, unless it's a legitimate design choice. But it isn't here. There's just no map, and it's really frustrating because a map would be really useful right about now when I'm trying to figure out what to do. Don't know why I keep trying to go through this door, because it's clearly just a texture. But it's weird because it doesn't... I guess they did a fairly good job of making it look like it's not just a part of the wall, that it's actually like something independent of that. You might have noticed another annoying thing about the doors in this game is that they have very rigidly defined animation cycles, and what that means is that once they start opening, they're going to open, and they're going to stay open for a set amount of time, and then they're going to close. And you can only trigger them to open when they're completely closed. So if they start closing and you want to go through them, you are just screwed. You gotta wait until they're completely closed. And that's really annoying, because this game likes to stick enemies on the other sides of doors. So combat generally consists of you poking through a door, shooting at some enemies, and then the door randomly closing in your face. And then you gotta wait until it closes. So yeah, that actually is the door we need to get through. But first we need to find a way to make it budge. And the game does not explain this to you, but basically you can see how this chamber that we're looking at is flooded. And I don't think that the game designers intended for you to just shoot them through here. I think they wanted it to be like a big arena fight in there, but fuck that. I'm just gonna shoot them. This is me trying to get through the little hole here, and you can't. Oh, am I really gonna search through it again? I think at this point I was just looking for a secret passage because I figured I'd explored everything, because it's really hard to know if you haven't. I think I'm looking for the button that lets you move stuff to see if this is hiding anything. And no, it's not hiding anything. These fountains, I'm guessing they sort of look like receptacles for holy water, but I don't think the ancient Romans did holy waters. Well, I don't know. Actually, the Greeks did. An interesting story. Hero of Alexandria was an ancient Greek dude, and he invented the vending machine, actually. That he devised a mechanism that you could put a coin in, and it would dispense a predetermined amount of holy water, actually. He also invented the steam engine, but couldn't find any use for it besides novelty special effects. He devised a means where the priests in the temple would burn an offering to one of their gods, and the fire from the sacrifice would heat a steam engine. And the steam engine would open the doors of the temple to let the worshippers in. And everyone thought this was just like really great. And he was a very famous person at the time, but again, like, he never found a real practical use for it, which is which is amusing, considering how the steam engine would revolutionize Europe about 1,000 years later. Yeah, true story. Hero of Alexandria. Oh yeah, this is a point where I decided to stop recording until I figured out what the hell I was doing. And I finally found this, looks like a bar. Except a knee-level bar. Health pickup. There, for whatever reason, the health pickups do allocate to you if you just touch them. There was some pickups there in the darkness, but because the lighting engine only works on the wall textures, you could see the pickups just fine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a bar, but they didn't make it nearly high enough. And you can see the nice skyboxes. That would have been really impressive if this game didn't come out in 2000. Again, 2 years after Half-Life. I'm gonna switch over to the Jesus Sword to save some ammo. It's interesting that the light from this torch stops dead after 3 meters. Also, you can't duck your head, you just get stuck on it. You get stuck on a lot of things very easily in this game. They didn't... Like, a lot of games, what they'll do with their level design is if there's a little bit that's just really there for cosmetics, but you don't want the player to get hung up on it, they'll put basically a very... Oh, what the shit! A very small invisible wall there, so you don't get hung up on it. In Team Fortress 2, they did this as part of the level design so that players couldn't exploit things that are just there for looks to get to a secret place and have an advantage. But no, this game just sort of put their stuff wherever they wanted and doesn't really care if you get stuck. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be the sound effect for, or if it's just like a canned sound effect, because it's not the sound the imps make, and the imps are the only enemies in this level, if I remember correctly. And this is the bit that I got stuck on, because I thought it was glitched, but actually I just couldn't figure out the fucking level design. And now I'm saving. Oh, I almost started a new game there. That would have been bad. Just saving here. Because you gotta go through this to get to the pump room. And it's actually not, not too inaccurate. The ancient Romans did have bathhouses like this. Fairly sophisticated plumbing systems that were based on, to pump in the water, but they mostly used gravity, and I'm pretty sure that this piping is not historically accurate. But the Romans did have a lot of really, a lot more advanced mechanisms than you'd think they would. In the Colosseums, they had basically elevators that would lift up lions or tigers or whatever animals they had up from below the arena floor into it, so there'd be just like a hole in the floor would open up, and then they could send up the animals on an elevator. They did figure out some stuff, but but they used it for silly shit like that. Like, they used it for fighting animals instead of using it for, like, as an elevator. And I think that's a lot of the reason why nobody really picked up on any of that stuff in medieval times, because they just used their advanced technology for bullshit. I'm pretty sure there's no fall damage in this game. Picking up a... Now we're going into horrifying bust courtyard. So now here's what I didn't realize at the time was that, or was it one of those doors that I hadn't been through? Or no, now I need to go back to where I was before, because now, having drained the room, now these doors open, and that's something I didn't realize on my first playthroughs. So now, gotta search the room for stuff. There's no pickups. There's the key is in here though. I'm pretty sure. Where's the key? Oh, it's there on the. It's glowing. It's glowing on the bench. That's a big ass key. I think. Yeah, the Romans did actually have locks. I was trying to remember if that was Romans or if that wasn't invented till medieval times. And actually, yeah, the Romans did have a primitive lock and key system. Anyway, this is the end of level 2. Catch you next time. This is D-Stacks, signing off.